Hey everyone, welcome again to my channel, Making Kye, about Tantra, the Kundalini energy and breathing. Today we're going to do our first exercise of breathing, standing up. And the idea is to construct our movements standing up through our breathing. As I've told you in videos before, our breathing always moves our body. So in this case, we're going to take that idea to the maximum, to its last consequences. Because in this case, what we're going to try to do is to control our body and its movements through the breathing, because something our breathing does is that it allows us to really control the fine movements of our body and really work that and grow in that matter. So our control of our body is always more and more accurate and subtle. And that happens because of breathing. If you move without the breathing, it is not that subtle. Also, you can construct force and intensity and rhythm with breathing, but the idea of this exercise is to try to control that body the maximum possible. So for that, we're going to move the slower we can. We're going to do that to its last consequences. And you'll see that it will open the door of our body for the spiritual rejoice to enter and feel those states that are there for us to connect to them and use them just with the control of our body, with our tantric mechanisms. That is whatever it is in our body and in ourselves that we can control and we can contrast. And as you see, there are several parts of our body that we can definitely contract and relax, or move in certain patterns or in a certain way or in a certain direction, and then the opposite thing of it, or intensity, rhythm, thoughts, everything that we can control in our body, can we contrast it? And out of that contrast, a lot of things happen. But one of those things is that there's a lot of energy happening, a lot of energy coming out of that action, of that contrast. So we use that consciously in our breathing. Another thing of contrast is inhaling and exhaling, for example. That's the yin yang there. And that's the whole idea of Tantra, that yin yang, that contrast of forces that allows us to really open the door of what's hidden, of that potential that's dormant. And through all that, we awaken that dragon and we allow the dragon to go out. If we do it with this type of exercise, repeating every day, we can really bring out this dragon gradually and not have a really intense burst that sometimes happens when a Kundalini awakening happens. That's just really strong and violent and comes out, and you don't know what to do with all that energy. It might feel like you're on shrooms or something, and those are states of the being that can last minutes or a day or 2 days, 3 days, even more. So you don't control that, and it's a bit intense if you can understand it, that you're not controlling it. But if we bring all this energy gradually through exercise, through movement, through posture, well, the experience will be totally different. One of the most important things of this exercise is the idea of the spontaneity, because through it we can really access the state of bliss. If we bring our mind and try to think how to move, how to behave, we're gonna lose it. That chance of feeling that rejoice is gonna get away. But notice this, to really catapult ourselves to that state of spontaneity, that's what I call Making Kye, the spontaneous dance of life. That's something very, very particular that happens when your body, your mind, and the environment and everything is synchronized for it to really happen. Spontaneity that brings rejoice, the state of samadhi to you. So it's very strong. But this state of spontaneity is something that we can grow as a muscle if we work it out. If we go to the gym and work our muscle, we grow that muscle, and we can grow the possibility of ourselves to express spontaneously, freely. That's something you develop through practice and through letting yourself express in those moments of spiritual spontaneity, or what I call Making Kye. but we're gonna get deeper in this topic. But to get there, it's a norm, it is the base of it, that we need to practice the postures, the forms. If you practice yoga, your postures, you practice your martial arts, your forms. But through that structure of repeating the same form of the body intensely again and again and again, and with the correct breathing projection, with all these movements, you will open the door of that spiritual rejoice to enter and feel your body. And when that happens, you let this spontaneity express. That's when you just free yourself and dance without structure, without a mold, just using everything you are in that present moment. That's dance as a ritual of gratefulness to the universe and to God. When you accomplish that and you get to that state, it's a trance. Because when we use those postures and we repeat them through breathing, we catapult ourselves to this trance state of rejoice. And then you can liberate yourself and keep breathing freely, and you understand when you're there, if you are able to get to that point, that is just perfection. You just merge with existence through movement, and your mind is just there with doing its service through the body to the soul, but it's not thinking, what am I doing here? No, she's not involved in how we're actually expressing. And I know it sounds weird because we think, no, well, our mind is there somehow. Well, yeah, it's somehow, but it's not controlling everything. Because you'll notice when you project yourself in that state, if you are not well prepared and you're standing up, you will go to the floor. You will probably need to sit down. And it is very strong. Even for me, that I've been practicing this a long time, it turns me down, and I sometimes forget, who am I? What am I doing? Where am I? Who am I? What am I? But gradually everything comes back, and you can continue doing more exercises and projecting more and more. If this happens to you, don't be afraid. It's a state of your mind where your mind is triggered, is catapulted away. And there's just energy flowing in your body. And through correct breathing, with correct breath work in that moment, we can articulate that energy and use it and not fall to the floor, but express it. And that's very different. You'll require practice over that state. It's like eating a shroom. If you're not trained, you'll go to the floor. So it's a state of trance. And if we want to control our body in a state of trance or project it, we need to practice a lot in the influence of that state of trance. So in this exercise, we're gonna do some forms and project our breathing. And then I'm gonna show you 2 intense exercises that you can do to project fast and then to witness this state of bliss. But remember that every single time you add up to your practice, the time you dedicate to your practice will always add up. The more you breathe and move, it will add up to your experience. It all adds up. So try to do this every day. Try to remember to breathe every day at least. We're gonna begin projecting our breathing being sitting down, and then we're gonna move in some postures. Then we're gonna do the extreme intense exercises. And at the end, we're gonna sit down again and feel everything that we moved in our body. In Tantra, when we move a lot, is the moment where we can stay still. It's a good moment to meditate after training, right? When you have moved all your body, all your energy, and then you're gonna face total stillness. You'll notice that after moving a lot, that will end up in you being more lubricated somehow to receive stillness comfortably and enjoying it and feeling the rejoice and exploring samadhi and everything. The same happens with movement. When we first sit down in stillness and breathe consciously, do our breath work, and then we do our postures and our movements, well, stillness will enhance our movements. It will allow us to connect to this peaceful state and really to connect to our slow motion. because sometimes we are anxious, we just need to move a lot, right? And we cannot stay still, or we are so anxious that our movements are too aggressive. And the idea in this exercise is subtlety, how breathing constructs force, how breathing constructs precision and control over the movements, and how breathing and movements creates rejoice and peace and relaxation in our body. The rejoice that's there for us, I call it a spiritual rejoice. Let's begin, let's do this exercise. I hope you enjoy it. So we're gonna begin doing some fast breathing while we're sitting down in a place where we're comfortable, so we can energize a little bit before we stand up and do our breathing and movements. So do it through your nose, exhale, contracting your muscles of your belly, and inhale, relaxing them. You can do it as fast as you can. If you cannot do it this fast, do it as you can. It's fine. I like to do it at this rhythm. Take a deep breath through the nose and hold 15 seconds or more if you can. And we exhale as slowly as we can through our nose, and at the end we can do it through our mouth and make sound. Now we take a deep breath and we let it out slowly, but through the mouth. Inhale deeply through the nose, exhale slowly through your mouth. Inhale deeply through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Now we are ready to begin our movements. So we're gonna do the repetition of the structure of the movements, the form, the postures, and constructing it with our breathing. We're gonna do that and repeat the same movements for some time. And at the end, I'm gonna show you the quick way to project ourselves to the state of mekankia, the state of spontaneous expression, where you put your mind aside. So we take a deep breath and we start moving as we want, using all of our body, compromising it. And by doing this and repeating these movements, constructing them with our breathing as a structure, we practice something that later on we're going to project in spontaneity, with total spontaneity. How slow can I go with everything I do? How can I flow to a movement in one posture to the next posture? Slowly. How slowly can I go? Equilibrium, having the balance of our body and breathing are totally intertwined. And balancing our body with our breathing really helps us to stretch our breathing, to help us understand how with our breathing we can dosify all the movements of our body and really control it to its finest movements possible. It also allows us to stay in one posture and stay there comfortably. We can change it subtly. But yeah, breathing helps us to project movement. And repeating them allows you to enter and synchronize your body with your environment, with your energy. In whatever posture we are, we open completely to it. Thanks to breathing. We can also do it with a stick, with a sword. Breathing will help us delve deep in all the subtle movements we can do with them. When we hit, when we attack, when we defend, breathing is there always. We can do fast breathing and chop it when we are moving in certain ways, and it allows us to really have more control. We can also do it with a sword, a real one. Now all of our body is compromised in our movements. Now we fed oxygen and vital energy. Obviously, this is not real technique to use a katana, but you will have to use your breathing. And I like to practice my breathing with these tools to give another dimension of how I express, another level of intensity. So this was breathing with different postures and repeating them for a while to really open that door of our bliss and our subtle energy coming in to now really catapult ourselves in intense breathing. And the exercise we're gonna do now is pretty much like this. We basically try to touch the floor. We do it until we can. We can only get here, well, we do it here, but the pressure should come from here, having your whole legs straight, and this part should be receiving the whole weight of your back and your head. You should not put your weight here. So your leg and your feet are straight into the ground, and we breathe intensely, trying to push down. And then we go up, we open up, and we take a deep breath and hold. With all our belly full of air, holding, and we stay there. We really have to be anchored to the ground, because here we can really lose the control of our body. If we have done it really strong, we will need to really sit down, and sitting down we can continue to live this state of spontaneity. You can close your eyes and feel it. So I'm gonna do it one time correctly. So I'm not gonna talk, I'm gonna do it. So let's see how it goes, okay? As you see, this is a case where the body loses the control. But when you're settled, then you can return and maybe stay still. You can really project yourself in stillness and try to understand what happened. Not just in the last exercise, but with everything we moved since we began. The other way we can do this, that I'm gonna show you today, it's a different posture, and it will be like this. In both cases, we use our hands trying to push down, or in this case, in front of us. And we jump a little bit. Go up, we hold, and if it is so intense, we can try to do it in a more calm way. You can even feel that your hands are moving on their own. It's very, very strange and beautiful. So I'm gonna do the last one, and then we're gonna stay still, being seated and just relaxing for the few last minutes so we can recollect everything that happened in this exercise. So ahí sucedió un poco. Oh. So, as you see, a lot of things happened. It was very nice, but I will have to see later on what was recorded because I don't remember it. But it was awesome. I could control easily where I was. I could be standing up. As you noticed, I was standing up and I felt a lot of energy and it was getting out of hand, so I seated. And it was cool, and then I played a little bit with my hands without remembering who I was. And that's the idea. The idea is not to harm yourself, to go beyond the limits of your mind necessarily. It's a very good exercise to heal on different levels, but you should be very aware. This is an advanced exercise. This is not an exercise for everyone. I have other exercises that we can do for everyone. You should really be careful. This is for advanced practitioners. And if you want to get there, start doing your breathing projections while you're sitting down. So yeah, we're gonna stay here for the last minutes, relaxing in stillness, recollecting our memories of what just happened, giving them to nature, to the grass, to the trees, to the wind, to the sky, to God Himself. We are present, we are here, and we are easily connecting with the rejoice of our body. We have now gone through a lot of contrasts, movements and forces with this exercise, and now we can really understand how it feels when we are still after doing all that, after projecting our body in movements and trying to harvest the spiritual rejoice that happens when we breathe correctly and move. That also happens when we breathe correctly and we stay still in a different way. Here you merge with, and the illusions of separation goes down, leaving the truth, nothing but the truth that everything is the same. And if you can get to that, you're very close to Samadhi, and give your body to experience its natural nature of being part of everything, part of God. So that's it. Thank you for being here. Please do this exercise with caution, and I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to be working more on this topic, doing more exercises. These two forms I show you to project your spontaneous energy are very strong, should be dealt with caution, and should not be done by everyone. No, not by kids, not by old people, with people with some conditions, that might be too strong for them. Maybe you can feel you're dying and you get all paranoid, and it can be a very bad experience. What I wanted to show you today is what happens when it goes wrong, what happens when it goes in a good way, and how to act. Because the idea is to really harvest the natural essence of what we are. Those are ways we can do it, when we project the breathing intensely in movements, and then we can recollect ourselves in stillness and breathing slowly. But that's pretty much it. Thank you for being here today. I hope you enjoyed this exercise, and remember, do it with caution. If you have any questions, please ask them below, share your experiences.